Oh man, what do we got here? Looks like Blue's about to be put on a lift. Yes, it is that time. What is going on, everyone? Derek here today, bringing you another episode of Redo Blue. Right off the bat, this episode has been long awaited and probably the most anxious episode, to be honest with you. Obviously, guys, today we are starting / hoping to complete the Vortech V3 installation on my 1999 Mustang GT. Have all my parts right here, and this might actually look very familiar because Monday's video, it was literally about 2 minutes of filming a part. So I just wanted to give you guys an update then, just so you know exactly what's going on now. And as I said before, guys, when the car was last in this garage with this lift, we were installing the Airlift Performance 3P bag system on the car, and ever since we've done that, absolutely loved it. So, you know, let's hope the Supercharger goes the same way. A little more anxious and worried and, you know, all the emotions you can think of with the Supercharger because, you know, you're putting a lot of stress, or I should say a lot more stress on the factory motor. And, you know, this motor is very fresh, actually. I think it has about 45,000 miles on it. So, you know, when it comes to that aspect, I think the motor runs strong and, you know, it's very, very healthy. So that's definitely a thumbs up. I have a lot more faith in this motor than, you know, a motor with over 100,000 miles. And obviously that goes with any Mustang application you do to a motor with tons of miles. It kind of, you know, puts you on the edge. But yeah, I'm waiting for my partner in crime to get off the cellular so we can start this madness. So guys, I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. What I think we're gonna do and what's necessary is we're gonna go ahead and strip down the whole motor. Now literally that's gonna be everything from the cold air intake, the throttle body, to the fuel rails, to the spark plugs, coil packs, fuel injectors. We might even take off the alternator just, you know, so we can get some cleaning done while we're at it, because this is gonna be exposed and it's gonna be so much easier to clean when, you know, all that stuff's off. I'm gonna have to go ahead and drain all the antifreeze in the car because you actually have to take out this this radiator hose. You have to cut it and you have to modify it with a Vortech piece, but we'll get more into that. But yeah, guys, we're gonna have our work cut out, that's for damn sure. I'm excited as hell. I've waited so long and so patient and worked so hard for this moment. So, you know, guys, Mustang week, a little less than a month, stressing out to the max, and I can't even make that up, like low-key stressing mad hard. Let's just say you guys only know about half of what I'm doing before, you know, September 1st. But you know, that's what makes it fun, is that rush and having the grind to get stuff done. After we get the Supercharger installed and it gets tuned and whatnot, a huge weight will be lifted off my chest, because if the car is running right, all the other miscellaneous, you know, exterior mods or interior mods or whatever I'm gonna do, it's gonna be a piece of cake. So that's what I'm saying, guys. Keep your fingers crossed, comment down below, say praying for DBP. Let's pray for DBP, you know. Your boy just wants this to work out perfect. Anyways, guys, still waiting for Brad right there. Let's give him a little squeeze. So over here on the table, guys, we have absolutely everything we're gonna need, from our new coil packs, to our new injectors, to our new spark plugs, to our tuner, to our new throttle body. We got the injector adapters, our new filter. We have the 01 through 04 bracket for the Supercharger, and we also have the 99 to 2000 bracket for the Supercharger. This one was actually Andrew's loud 2 valves before he sold the car, so I was like, yo, let me get that just in case, because you never know. And I'm not saying they messed up, I'm just saying I took a precaution. I said, Andrew, let me get this real quick, so I have both of them, so there is no like, holy shit, this bracket isn't mounting up. We have both of them, so it's impossible for one of those not to mount up. We got the head unit itself. It looks like all the tubing. I don't think I'll be using all of this because I do have an Anderson's power pipe in a box down here, so I'm debating if I want to use that right now. But yes, this is all the factory tubing, and then this is going to be the tube that goes from the blower into the throttle body. And obviously we got our manual here, got our gauge. I have a gauge cluster down there somewhere. It's in one of those boxes. But yeah, everyone, that's everything right there. I know it looks like a lot, but honestly, with all those boxes, I thought I had a lot more. So I'm hoping we have everything, because, you know, there's no going back now. And I know I recently just said this, but let's seriously get into it now. Put the bolts back in for the coil packs. Just put it back in the thing.
In a good way. Yeah. Brian, I'm gonna be honest with you, that smells like pure gasoline.
60% of the time, it works. Every time.
That doesn't make sense.
so a little update for you guys. We are stripping the engine as we speak. We just got the fuel rail disconnected along with the throttle body, the intake, got the injectors out, got the coil packs out. The spark plugs are gonna be last because Brad actually informed me that the 4.6s are really known to shooting spark plugs because you take them out when the engine's hot, and obviously heat, you know, with metal, it definitely, it warps it, and you know, it softens it up. So we're gonna wait until the motor is as cool as possible to replace the spark plugs, because we do not want to shoot a spark plug, you know, through a coil pack and up into the hood, because that, you know, you don't want to do that, period. So other than that though, we're just about ready to hook up the new injectors, and we can replace those. And as I said guys, the spark plugs are going to be one of the last things, but I know we do have to drain the radiator because we have to do a radiator cut, and yeah, we're getting there though, we're getting there. Anyways, keep you guys updated.
Tips down in the middle here.
In a good way. Yeah. Brian, I'm gonna be honest with you, that smells like pure gasoline.
Alright, so right now the car is cooled down. Like I said, you do not want to remove the spark plugs. Brad informed me on that when the motor's hot, because it's aluminum and steel and you'll strip the threads out. It's cooled down now. We're removing the spark plugs. We're gonna gap the other ones. I'm gonna show you how to do that, and then obviously just reinsert the other ones and should be good to go. Alright guys, so we got the old spark plugs out of the car. Motherfucker. Now with the boost, we are using V-Power NGK spark plugs. You can pick these up at LMR, and right now Brad is spacing them. We're gonna run a 0.32 spacing. So we space them out to 0.032, and with boost you want obviously a spark plug that runs cooler, so that's exactly why we're running these. And yes, as I said, 0.032 for the spacing, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put those back in. Alright, so spark plugs are now in. They have been gapped, installed. Those are good to go. Now we're gonna go ahead and install the coils, and the best coils you could possibly run, whether you're running a Supercharger or NA Motorcraft. These are the OEM Ford coils. Do not get anything else. They're pricey, but they're worth it. So we're gonna go ahead and install these coils just as we took out the old ones.
60% of the time.
Alright guys, a little update for you. Coil pack, spark plugs, and injectors are now switched. Honestly, very easy. Just make sure when you go and switch these things, you put your bolts back in the holes and stuff so you don't lose anything like that. But yeah, those three things obviously take a huge part within supercharging your car. So that's finished. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and flush the system, as in radiator fluid, oils last. We went to AutoZone, I got all that stuff too. But yeah, we're gonna get the radiator flushed out. We have to take this tube off, and there's a little connection. We'll show you guys what you have to do, but Brad's gonna work on that now. All right guys, so right now, as we said, we drained the radiator. Now what we're gonna have to do is remove the main radiator hose, and this is where the radiator hose modification is gonna come into play. Brad and I are gonna show you exactly what to do, but first things first, remove that hose, and from there, we'll continue. All right guys, so right here, this is the radiator hose that connects to the radiator. Now, the first step with this, as your instructions will say, you wanna measure out 1 inch, and you're gonna cut 1 inch off. And then after we do that, we're gonna remove the radiator hose completely, and then we're gonna cut the radiator hose in half, and that's where that stainless steel piece is gonna go into play. You feed that in, you clamp it, and then from there, you're gonna pretty much reroute the whole entire radiator hose. But right now, we're gonna measure this and cut it off. All right guys, here you have it. This is the modification we just did. Obviously now, you could turn this 360, as I said, to, you know, go underneath the blower. It's not gonna be installed right now. Just wanted to show you guys exactly what this looks like. So this is the radiator hose modification for the Vortech. So right now guys, what we're doing, we're going ahead and making room for all this. We're taking off all the bolts in there because obviously that's where the supercharger bracket goes and that's where it's gonna sit. We also had to bend this AC line right here. That's a it's a must do in the manual and you gotta be very careful doing that. It was a little weird. We also got the cold air intake out along with the filter, and you know, we're just gonna keep on trucking and get this thing mounted up. Alright, welcome back to the vlog everyone. Day 2 of the Supercharger Vortech V3 installation on my 1999 Mustang GT. Really quick, I want to go ahead and update you guys on some problems Brad and I ran into yesterday, and honestly, that's probably why we didn't get the job done yesterday. As you guys saw, we were trucking away. We got the injectors done, we got the coil packs, the spark plugs, everything else was stripped. Throttle body was ready to get thrown on. We got a new gasket for that. But then came time to mount up the supercharger, which obviously is the most exciting part because you get to see the supercharger sit in the bay. And obviously you can see it's not here. We unbolted it because in order to put a belt on these things, you have to put the belt on the supercharger first, then put it on. So we were just test fitting everything. So yeah, as I was saying, we ran into a huge speed bump to where, you know, we had to call Vortech, and honestly Vortech couldn't help us because, you know, they didn't really know exactly what was going on, and neither did we. But come to find out, if you're doing this supercharger and let's say the bracket wasn't lining up or isn't lining up like it was in our case, it was literally just this one piece on the car that was completely screwing us, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you what that was. So our main problem trying to mount up the supercharger was this big old tensioner. Now as you can see, this tensioner has some, you know, width to it, and unfortunately when this was bolted up, and it was obviously not lining up like it was supposed to, so I went to AutoZone and sure enough they had a smaller tensioner, and this was just a replacement part. It's not like I asked for a smaller tensioner, I just asked for a 99 Mustang GT tensioner, and it was way different and way slimmer than this. We slapped that on and sure enough the bracket was perfect. So if you guys are doing this or a ProCharger, etc., I'm not too sure how the ProCharger brackets are, but if you're doing Vortech specifically or Paxton, make sure you guys have a smaller tensioner before you start this because you're going to run into the same problem. But anyways guys, now that we got that figured out, like I said, we can start, you know, assembling the whole entire engine bay, and then there is the fuel pump we have to do, but other than that, pretty much done. So obviously we're gonna work on the throttle body. We have the BBK one over there. We're gonna slap that on, hook up all our connections. We're gonna go ahead and throw the belt and blower on, hook up all our connections to that. Make sure we tidy this all up, and then as soon as we're done doing that, we'll discuss what's next. All right, so new BBK 78mm throttle body going in, and we'll go ahead and update you guys as soon as we get all this bolted down, and obviously you wanna replace all the tubing. So like I said, we'll update you in just a minute. All right guys, BBK throttle body is now installed. Obviously we gotta get the blower put in place. After the blower, we gotta run our tubes, and from there, that's when all the other tubes from the throttle body going into the blower tube will take place. But as of right now, BBK is installed, and time to mount up the blower. All right guys, little update for you. Supercharger is fully mounted. We got the belt on the pulleys that turned out perfect. So right now what we're working with is the intake. We're deciding if we're gonna use the Anderson's power pipe or if we're just gonna go stock with the Vortech intake. We haven't honestly decided yet. We're seeing what we can mock up to fit perfect and, you know, work as well. And we are trucking away. So as soon as we get this intake decided and, you know, installed, I'll step you through what we did and fill you in on that. We are now working on the intake side of things. We have the pipe that goes to the inlet of the blower, and obviously right here we're still working, which, you know, you're gonna have to mount up underneath the fender just like a normal cold air intake filter would mount. BBK throttle body, we're gonna run a pipe. We're running straight into, no intercooler setup, and I'm gonna go more into that in just a moment. Brad over here working on the mounting bracket with the mass airflow, and then the filter goes on the end of that, which is around here right there. But yeah, going good so far. No real hiccups. Otherwise, we are about 80% done with the mounting process. Anyways guys, we'll keep you updated as we keep going. All right guys, so we just got the intake part of the blower assembled. It's good to go. So this is gonna be the kit from Vortech. You have your black piece. It's gonna mount up with a couplet right into the inlet of the blower. And then into the firewall, you have to do no cutting. It's all factory. You're gonna use this adjustable, almost slinky looking little tubing. And then you come underneath the fender, and this is where I'm gonna try to clarify all your confusion, and you know, we're gonna make this happen. So as I said right here, that's like that slinky looking tubing, and then you're gonna have your bend in the arm right here for your plug. Then Vortech supplies you with this metal bracket. This metal bracket actually hooks up to your mass airflow sensor, and then that bracket is mounted by the bumper right here. So if you were to take your bumper off, it's these two bolts. So that goes underneath there. You feed the bolts over that and tighten that down, and that's how this bracket, you know, it's really sturdy. And obviously you finish it off with the filter that Vortech gave you, and that is your complete intake. We're gonna obviously have to run down the mass airflow plug-in right there, and from there we just have to work on the supercharger to the throttle body. So you know, I hope that clarifies some of that confusion if you had any. I know we did, but figured it out, and it really wasn't hard. It was just, you know, just frustrated. You can't be frustrated when trying to install this, because then you just have no patience. Patience is key. Anyways guys, like I said, we have to work from the blower now into the throttle body. After that, the blower is 100% mounted after we plug everything in, and yeah, gotta just continue.
It's the nostrils.
Alright guys, welcome back. So as you guys know, we just finished up working on the front of the car. Now we're gonna head to the back of the car, and this is where the fun stuff flies. That's sarcasm, by the way. But right now, we are working on getting this gas tank out, because we do have to replace our fuel pump. Obviously, supercharging a car, you're gonna need a lot more fuel, and I mean a lot more. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this bad boy in, and with this and our injectors, we're gonna be good to go. Yeah, we're gonna start working on this, and we'll update you along the way. We have the tank really loose, as you can see here, and we are just working on getting that filler neck. I have a new filler neck little gasket that goes on the tank, because these tend to corrode. As you can see, that's broken, and you want to make sure you replace this, because if you don't, this actually happened to me before about 3 years ago. Whenever I would make a left-hand turn, obviously all the gas would come this way, and this thing was slinging gas all over the street, and it smelled really bad, obviously. So that part number is 577501, and it's a Dorman part. So if you need another one of those and you're slinging gas, that's exactly why. But anyways guys, we're gonna go ahead and drop the tank, and then from there we'll show you how to replace the fuel pump. All the lines to this fuel tank are now disconnected. We're doing it the right way. We're gonna drop the whole tank out of the car, so you know you have better hands-on access. And yeah, everything's disconnected. Now it's time to drop it. All right guys, now that the gas tank's out, this is gonna be that rubber gasket I'm talking about. Your filler neck goes into here, and these years are really known for doing this. And it's not supposed to do that, because as I said, once it does that, you'll be slinging gas. So here's the old one, it's split in half. I got the new one over there in the box, and pretty much just, you know, pop it in, and you're good to go with that. Then we're gonna be working right over there where the fuel pump is located. All right, fuel pump's coming out of the tank, just like that. So you have this whole mechanism here. You open this up, and inside lies your stock fuel pump, and then that's obviously where you take your aftermarket one, place it right where the stock one is. Yeah, make sure you put it in the grass. It's fuel. You don't want this shit everywhere like that. All right, old pump is out. Here's the new one. And for those of you wondering, this is just like a filter. As you can see, there's some gunk in there. We're gonna go ahead and clean all that out. But I'm not sure if you transfer the filter. I've had that question when I've watched other videos. We're gonna mess with it, see what you gotta do, but we're gonna crank this new pump open, and just vice versa guys, we're not gonna film you know, bolting everything back up. We'll show you how to transfer everything if you have to, but other than that, it's literally the same thing, just a bigger pump. So guys, for those of you wondering, this does indeed transfer over. Do not forget this. Honestly, if you don't use it, it probably wouldn't do much, because there's a couple filters along the way of your fuel system, but just transfer it over. If yours is in bad shape, check to see if you can replace it, but this does, it snaps right on the new one, and yeah, pretty simple. Sorry, baby pump, but you're just not quite big enough. Fuel tank is going back up, everything's switched, new fuel pump. We got the new rubber gasket right here, and from there, just reapply everything, plug everything back in, strap it down. Fuel pump is done, so we're gonna get that done real quick. So update on the car, everyone. Fuel system is completed with the injectors and the fuel pump. Now we're just doing some fitment. We're trying to get our vacuum lines to reach this, because this pipe seems to be, you know, pretty parallel with that, so it's gonna be kind of hard to get that on there, but working with that, and other than that, we're smooth sailing. So we have pretty much the last update right here. So here on my 1999 Mustang GT, obviously we've been working on a Vortech V3-Si trim supercharger, and let's just say I'm super excited because we have finally completed the project and it looks amazing. But you know, unfortunately things can look good and doesn't necessarily mean they work. So right now, guys, we actually have the tuner. It was plugged up, we updated it on the computer. My tuner, Kevin, over at Flim Flam. If you haven't checked him out, make sure you guys check him out. He's gonna be doing the dyno tuning. He's very, very good at Mustangs and BMWs. So if you have one of those two cars, and sure you can do other cars as well, but that's what he specializes in. Don't know when dyno day is. I'm not gonna get ahead of myself because right now he sent me the base tune. It's in my email. We're gonna load it up. We're gonna pretty much download the tune on this ECU, and we're gonna try to get it started. Everything lined up really well. The pulley is very straight. We're looking good in that aspect. Everything is down, all the tubing is connected, and the fuel pump is in. Only problem we could have is the fuel pump doesn't work, or the injectors, you know, are bugging out. But honestly, guys, I think we're gonna be okay, and I am looking forward to it. So we're downloading the tune now. Gonna hook up the SCT right here, which is already hooked up. We're gonna transfer the tune Kevin sent me onto there, then we're gonna go ahead and back up the stock tune. Make sure you always back up the stock tune just in case. And from there, we'll see if she kicks on. All right, guys, so right here, we are downloading the tune onto the ECU, and I cannot stress this enough. I am beyond excited, super nervous, super worried. This is a big deal for me, and obviously, you know, 2-valve motor, blower, 99 car, anything could happen. As soon as this is done downloading, take it to the next step. The new startup tune from Flim Flam is installed, so the last step is to literally start the car. Got some fresh 93 in there, and here goes nothing, guys. This is it. All right, guys, here's the moment of truth. We are gonna try to start up this car. Here we go. Oh boy.
Blow up. I don't even understand how the fuck my plug talk.